Hey guys, how you doing? It's Brad. I'm so excited to tell you about my guest today, Michael Morawski. Michael Morawski is a 30 plus year real estate investment veteran. He has controlled over $285 million in real estate transactions. Now, Mike's an entrepreneur, author, real estate trainer, public speaker, and personal coach with strong personal resilience and a deep desire to help others live an extraordinary life. He has coached hundreds of real estate investors to fulfill their dreams. Hello, Mike. Welcome.
Hey, Brad, thanks for having me on. I had to tell you, with all that energy, I had to look around and see who you were talking about.
Yeah, people like that. Thank you so much. Hey, I'm excited to have you. You bring out the energy in me. Mike, who is your biggest influence on your real estate career?
Brad, this is kind of a goofy story, but my dad. And I'll tell you a little history about that. We had no entrepreneurial background in our family and no real estate background in our family. And we're on family vacation. I'm 8 years old, sitting on the side of a swimming pool, and we're at a resort. And I asked my dad about all the rooms around the swimming pool. And he tells me, in his little bit of wisdom, how people come there and they stay there and they pay the owner money. And I knew at that moment that I wanted to be the owner collecting the money at 8 years old. And I really believe today that that's where my journey in real estate started.
It's a great story, Michael. It's a great story, especially spending time with your dad. I was very close with my dad as well. And to be able to hold your dad and have that sort of endearment, it's a wonderful quality. I'm sure he's very proud of you.
Yeah.
Michael, let me ask you, I know that you do a lot of investing, coaching, and you've helped hundreds of investors. Being a real estate agent myself for all of these years, especially newer agents, they tend to shy away from investors. They're scared of them. Someone says, I'm an investor, and maybe their confidence isn't what it should be. So part of the reason why I'm doing podcasts like this is to help the average real estate agent, the person who just doesn't really quite know where to go or what to ask. What can you do to help them? What be a little bit more confident?
Yeah, Brad, I think that that's a great point. I think that a lot of real estate agents miss an opportunity by working with the real estate investor. They have the mentality that, oh, this guy just came from some seminar and he's got some new idea and he's going to try something. But, little do they know, with a little bit of coaching and a little bit of help, that real estate investor might really be something.
Yes.
My first 15 years in the real estate business, I was a sales agent. I worked primarily with investors because what I had seen was that they were going to buy property at some point. Even if it took a little while, they were going to buy property. Right. And what I really liked was when they went to sell the property, because I got the listing back.
That's
so
right.
If I built a relationship with them, I was able to get the listing back. And I was a big listing agent when I sold real estate. So most of what I did was I prospected the investors who couldn't get their house sold.
Smart.
And I wound up working with them, and I built a very large clientele of real estate investors.
That's a really great point as well. Is focusing on. So I do a lot of investors as well, and I've always loved the fact people will say, well, you don't make a lot of money when you're working with investors. And I see you'd make a lot more. You're looking at the small picture, not the big picture. You're going to sell that same house twice, maybe 3 times. And what about the people who bought it? Oftentimes you end up, double ending it again.
Right. So, here's a great point too, right? So take an investor who maybe doesn't want you to list his house for him, but will give you an opportunity to help him. And you can meet some other clients as a direct result of that investor. I believe every investor is good for about 10 deals.
Yeah. Just off the phone calls you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Michael, what is the best way to get started in multifamily investing?
Well, I believe in multifamily investing that you can create true wealth with small multifamily properties. And when I talk about small multifamily properties, I talk about 2 to 4 unit deals. So that's on the residential side. So still, if you're new, if you're green, becoming an investor, hey, go buy a 4 unit and house hack. That's the big word today, right? Is house hack. So go do an FHA mortgage, 3.5% down, move in, live there, get all kinds of experience, knock the dust off your feet, and learn the business. You're going to learn about tenanting, tenant retention. You're going to learn about leases. You're going to learn about maintenance. You're going to learn about turnover.
Right.
You're going to learn a lot in a 4-unit building that you live in and operate. That could be your starting point to the next one. So if you're living in a 4-unit and it's not costing you any money to live there because the other tenants are paying your mortgage and you're putting money in the bank, you're going to go buy that next investment property a lot quicker as a result of that.
It's a great
So I
point.
really think the best way to get started, I'm sorry, Brad, I really think the best way to get started is your first deal as a brand new investor should be
House hack.
a one that you're going to live in.
Yeah. No, and that's a great, that it teaches you how to manage the property, and it teaches you just the whole gamut. Michael, how has your business changed with COVID?
Hmm. So my business has gotten better because I really coach and train today
Right.
more so than anything else. I see though a lot of changes in the business. So like when I go to look at a deal today, I look at that deal virtually first.
Okay.
I'm not out. I used to jump on an airplane and go take a look at a deal and spend a couple of days out of town. But now I can look at that online, and that broker down there is going to walk around and show me that property
Virtually, right.
virtually before till I get interested. Then I'm going to go look at it again. But I see that the market has changed a lot as a result of the pandemic, and we have to adapt. And if you don't adapt as an agent and you don't adapt as an
Right.
entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you wind up in trouble. You get stuck.
Yeah. No, that's a great, you are filled with wonderful points today. I like having you. This is great. Now, Michael, I know we talked about house hacking and we talked about, living in the house if for someone who wanted to get into multi-family, spaces. So is there any other advice that you would give a new investor in regards to the multifamily space? Is there anything else that maybe someone's missing?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks that I had early on was when I bought my first deal. I didn't do enough due diligence.
Right.
And I think there's 2 points in every deal that you do some due diligence. And that first point is upfront, those initial traps.
Right.
We check the school district, we check the population, we have to check the demographics, we have to check police reports and fire
Right.
reports, and we need to know what's going on. Is this an area that, hey, am I going to be able to re-tenant it?
Right.
I could go into an apartment deal and put CapEx money in, but if I can't raise the rent
Doesn't
because
matter.
the
Right.
market, it doesn't matter what I do to it,
Yeah.
right? So, and those are the things I learned early on, and I took the seller's word for things. I didn't do my own due diligence, and when the seller says, hey, these are $50 a month below market rate, and you move in, you buy the place and find out they're $50 below
Over. Yeah.
over market rate,
Yeah.
you're in trouble, right? So don't take the seller's word, do your own due diligence. And here's the other point to that is when you do your own due diligence, that starts to build into your exit plan.
Right.
And that starts to develop how you're going to get out of the deal.
So I love the fact that you mentioned exit plan. That's not my next question. It was going to be, but I'm going to get to that. And guys, listen out for exit plan. We're going to talk about that shortly. But right now, I'd like to ask you, what is your daily, your morning routine? What do you do when you first wake up? I love asking successful people, what's your morning routine?
Wow. You know what? I have to say that out of probably the last 30 podcasts I've been on, you're the first one to ask that. That's interesting. So morning routine. First thing I do is I spend time with God,
Good for you.
and I spend quiet time in prayer, read the Bible, and
Right.
before I start my day. And then from there, I go to the health club
Good for you.
and, you know,
Me
work
time.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I, do my little tweets and things like that.
Yeah.
um, get back and, I take that morning for myself and get myself prepared mentally, physically,
Important.
emotionally, spiritually, so that I can tackle the day.
And listeners, the reason why you hear me ask people this all the time is, so I'm the same. I wake up in the morning, I meditate. I like to meditate. I like to go to the gym. I like to get that me time in, that real, I don't care if I have to get up at 5 in the morning so I can be at the office by 8. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to feel really good, and that my body feels good, my mind feels good, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
then I'm going to go to work and I'm going to have at it. So I love asking successful people that question, and I can appreciate the fact that you do have a similar morning routine. So, Michael, what I'm really interested in, let's talk about exit plan. Now, what is exit plan, and why did you write it?
So Exit Plan is a book I just released,
Okay.
and it is your complete guide to multifamily investing and why you need an exit plan before you buy. So over the years, Brad, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and countless hours in training, seminars, one-on-one coaching, read books, tapes, always to be left empty. And
Right.
and don't get me wrong, there's some really great coaches and some really great trainers out there, but if ever talked about, it's always left for the end. Uh, the exit plan, how to get out. We always learn about how to get in a deal and
Right.
how to buy it, how to find it, how to operate it, but nobody talks about how to getting out. I just read a book by a really well-known author, famous guy, who the book was about 379 pages.
Okay.
And all the way at the end of the book, like page 300, one little paragraph, 8 lines that says exit plan. Now, after all your hard work, listen, you need to know that before you buy that deal.
Right.
Because if you don't know what to expect along the way, how do you know how to adjust?
That's right.
It's about thinking things through. So let me give you an example. When I evaluate a deal, I'm going to evaluate a deal for a 10-year perspective. But what am I going to do? So a lot of times you find that your most profitable year is a long time before 10 years. It could be at year 6.
Right.
So what do you do? Well, do I take all my capital gains or do I take all my depreciation along the way?
Right. Right.
Do I accelerate it or do I leave it? Do I ride it? Do I recapitalize? What do I do along the way in order to make it as profitable as I possibly can? You know, they say in real estate that you make money when you buy a deal, but we don't realize it till we get out.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing, Brad, is that exiting doesn't necessarily mean giving up control or getting out. It could mean a number of different things. It could mean recapitalizing. It could
Right.
be bringing a partner in. So I talk about that in the book, and it is, I think it's a good read. I wrote it. I'm partial, but it definitely has. When I've gone back and reread it,
Right.
it really, I'm like, wow, I could do this business.
So that's a really interesting book. I'm excited to read it. Now, Michael, let me ask you, how can someone get a hold of you if they're interested in talking more about Exit Plan, or if they wanted to read Exit Plan? What can they do?
Sure. Well, Brad, I'd like to offer all your listeners a free copy download of Exit Plan. So
Okay.
they could go to my website, which is mycoreintentions.com, and on the front page, go to the Exit Plan book, the ebook version, and they can download it while they're checking out on the download. If in the coupon box, if they put ATRE,
ATRE.
um, uh, they will get the download for free.
Excellent.
So I
So if
want
they
to
go to
offer,
mycoreintentions.com, mycoreintentions.com, when they go to check out on the book and they put ATRE in, they will be able to check out that book for free.
correct.
That's wonderful. I've really enjoyed having you, Michael. I keep calling him Mike, guys, and he asked
That's all
me,
right.
call me Michael. And I said, okay, Mike. I apologize.
When I was younger, my mom used to call me Michael when I was late for dinner, but now I like it all the time. So
See, there you go, right? Listen, thank you, Michael, for being here. And remember, if you go to my website now at atrepodcast.com and sign up for my free download, my 5 secrets on how to become successful today in real estate. And thanks again for being here, Michael. I appreciate it.
thanks, Brad.
And guys, go to mycoreintentions.com and get Michael's free book for Exit Plan.